Why are you not wearing a seatbelt?
Because I'm not driving.
So do you use seatbelts at the rear?
No, I have used it only maybe once or twice.
Sir, why are you not wearing your seatbelt?
मैं अभी पीछे से ही आ रहा हूँ.
I can see that you're using a seatbelt.
Yeah,
But do you use one when you're sitting at the rear?
Yeah, I mean, I usually do.
Okay, but you don't wear them at the rear.
No.
Do I need to wear a seatbelt at the back?
Now, the Motor Vehicle Act 1988 clearly states that the driver and also the passenger in the front seat, and in fact even the passengers in the front facing rear seat, should be belted up at all times while the car is in motion. So the law enforcing the usage of rear seat belts has been in place for many years now, but then most motorists are simply unaware of this law. Not just that, people are also unaware about the benefits of using a seat belt and how it can protect you in an event of a crash. Hello ladies and gentlemen, you have tuned into 91 Wheels. I'm your host YATHARTH, and this video is brought to you in association with Hyundai Motor India to promote road safety in general and also to make people more aware about the benefits of using a seatbelt both at the front and at the rear. But before I proceed, I would request you to do hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you like our work. So before I proceed with giving you some gyan on the importance of using seatbelts at the rear, let me conduct a small social experiment wherein I'll approach users of the rear seats in cars in Delhi NCR and see whether or not they're using a rear seat belt. Not just that, I'll even quiz them about the importance and about the law related to the usage of rear seat belt. Hi ma'am, do you have 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Why are you not wearing a seat belt?
Because I'm not driving.
But has some cop ever fined you for not wearing a seat belt at the rear?
Never.
Okay, but do you think seat belts are actually important, or do you wear them simply because you want to avoid fines?
No, of course, when I'm sitting in the front seat or even if I'm driving or in the front seat, both time I wear my seat belt because of the safety purpose only. But yeah, in the rear seat, never. Never thought of that way though.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, why are you not wearing a seat belt?
मैं अभी पीछे से ही आ रहा हूँ. मेरा घर है एक्चुअली.
हाँ.
मुझे बस गाड़ी की थोड़ी सी रनिंग करनी थी, काफ़ी दिन से खड़ी हुई है ना. इसलिए बस थोड़ा ही चला रहा हूँ मैं गाड़ी.
बट मतलब आप सीट बेल्ट फाइन से बचने के लिए पहनते हो कि सेफ्टी के लिए पहनते हो?
नहीं, फाइन से भी बचने के लिए, बट सेफ्टी तो जब होता है ना, आप तेज़ चला रहे हो गाड़ी को. अभी तो मैं स्लो स्पीड्स पे हूँ, 10, 20, 30.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Ma'am, why are you not wearing a seat belt?
Do I need to wear a seat belt at the back?
Has a cop ever fined you for not wearing a seat belt at the rear?
Obviously not.
But do you think seat belts are useful, or do you wear them only because you want to avoid getting fined?
I do think seat belts are useful, but when you are sitting at the front. But yeah, not sure about the back.
Hi sir.
Hi.
I can see that you're using a seat belt.
Yeah,
but do you use one when you're sitting at the rear?
Yeah, I mean, I usually do.
Okay, but do you do it because you feel that seat belts actually save lives, or has any cop ever stopped you for a fine for not using a rear seat belt?
I don't think a cop has ever stopped anyone in India for like not using a seatbelt in the rear.
Okay, but of course it's good that...
I mean, at the very least, it just stops you from like being thrown about the cabin when the car is being driven. So yeah,
that's right. Okay, thanks a lot. Hi ma'am, do you have 2 minutes? Do you wear seat belts?
Of course I do when I'm driving. Or I'm in the front.
Okay, but you don't wear them at the rear.
No.
And has some cop ever stopped you for not doing that?
No.
Okay. But
That are requirement.
so basically, do you wear seat belts to avoid a fine, or do you really think that seat belts can help you?
I think it's important for your own safety.
Thank you. So that is what car users in and around Gurgaon have to say about the usage of rear seat belts. But then we thought we shouldn't restrict ourselves to this region, and hence approached a few subscribers around this country and quizzed them on this topic. So do you use seat belts at the rear?
No, I have used it only maybe once or twice when my cab driver was driving really very rash.
Okay, and have you ever been stopped by a cop for not wearing seat belts at the rear?
No, never.
Okay, thank you so much. And the third question is, do you wear seatbelts to avoid getting fined, or do you really believe seatbelts protect you in accidents?
When I'm driving and when I'm shotgun, I wear seatbelts every time because I don't trust roads, and I think it's really for safety, not just for fine.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Thank you for your time.
Do you use seatbelts at the rear?
Yeah, I do. Like I'm wearing one, I'm yet to remove it. পেছনের সিটে সিট বেল্ট ইউজ করি, এখনো খোলা হয়নি, এখনো পড়ে আছে।
আচ্ছা, ever been stopped by a cop for not wearing seatbelts at the rear?
না, সেরকম কখনো হয়নি। আমার মনে হয় এটা ভালো একটা সেফটি প্রিকশন, পড়া উচিত। তো আমি ওটা ফাইন অ্যাভয়েড করার জন্য করি না।
So you basically do this for your own safety? Okay sir, thank you.
Welcome, you have a nice day.
Sir, do you use seatbelt at the rear?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been stopped by a cop for not wearing seatbelts at the rear?
No, never.
Okay. And last question. Do you wear seatbelts to avoid getting fined, or do you really believe seatbelts protect you in accident?
Well, of course, for safety, because Jaspal Bhatti lost his life because he was not wearing seatbelt at the rear.
मैं गगनदीप सिंह ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਾਰ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਤੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੀਟ ਬੈਲਟ ਲਗਾਉਂਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਬਟ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸੀਟ ਬੈਲਟ ਲਗਾਉਣਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ.
हो, मी मागे पण सीट बेल्ट वापरतो. नाही, मला असं तर कधी थांबवलं नाही. सीट बेल्ट अतिशय महत्त्वाचे आहेत आणि ते तुम्हाला अपघातावेळी वाचवतात.
நான் ஃப்ரண்ட் சீட் மட்டும் இல்லை, ரியர் சீட்டில் உட்காரும் போதும் सीट बेल्ट போடுவேன், बिकॉज सेफ्टी ரொம்ப इम्पोर्टेंट.
हेलो, मेरा नाम नवीशियान है. मैं मोस्टली जब गाड़ी चलाता हूँ फ्रंट सीट पर तब तो सीट बेल्ट लगाता ही हूँ, और जैसे जब हम हाईवे पर जाते हैं तब भी मैं बैक साइड की भी सीट बेल्ट लगाता हूँ जब पीछे बैठता हूँ.
So that's the condition all across the country, and just to put the gravity of the situation into perspective, let me tell you that in last 10 years over 1.3 million lives have been lost in road accident. Not just that, over 5 million people have been injured in road accident, and of course not wearing a seatbelt is one of the major factors for this loss of life. Furthermore, to tell you how lightly we take seatbelts, studies reveal that only 10% of the entire school buses that are plying in this country come equipped with seatbelts for their passengers. And let me tell you once again that road accidents have been one of the biggest cause of death for age group of 5 to 29 years, which include children and young adults as well. Talking solely about rear seat belts, as per World Health Organization, the use of rear seat belts can reduce the probability of death by up to 25% and injuries by a whopping 75%. In fact, as per a study conducted by the Government of India in key metropolitan cities, it was found that over 70% of road users confirmed the presence of rear seat belts in their vehicles, but only just about 7% of them admitted to ever using them. Plus, only 27% of these people were even aware about rear seat belts being mandated by the law. And just to make matters worse, it was found that 91% of the users who took this survey confirmed that they have never been stopped by a traffic policeman for not using the rear seat belts. So all these figures clearly show that there has been a blatant disregard for traffic rules pertaining to the use of seat belts. Moreover, most motorists are simply unaware of the benefits of using a seat belt, and that has clearly led to a high number of casualties in road accidents in the last decade. And finally, it is upon us to not just ensure that we use seat belts regardless of what seat we are on, but even use equipment such as child seats for the protection of our children during travel inside a vehicle. And finally, I would also like to take this opportunity to bring to light that the pandemic is far from over, and in these unprecedented times there are 5 safety practices we should all adopt immediately. First of these is of course to minimize travel, and if at all you have to travel, it's best to travel alone to minimize contact. Number 2, if you can't go alone, make sure everyone is protected. Make sure that everyone is wearing a N95 mask and is regularly sanitizing his or her hands to minimize the risk. Next, it's also important to disinfect key touch points and wash your hands. For example, you can disinfect the steering wheel regularly, even disinfect the gear lever, handbrake, door handles, radio and infotainment controls, steering column stalks like indicator and windscreen wipers, and finally elbow rest and seat position controls along with the door frame. Proper disposal of your face masks and hand gloves is also important to minimize the risk of contamination for others. And finally, coming to the last point, it's important to fill fuel safely, because if you absolutely have to go somewhere by your car, it's highly likely that you'll need to buy some fuel sooner or later. Don't forget to be very careful about hygiene at petrol stations. Minimize contact with the staff, and after filling up, immediately wash your hands or at least disinfect them using a sanitizer. Also, you should have a sufficient quantity of these in your car. Ideally, use one of the modern methods for paying for your fuel payment by contactless card or through mobile phone paying options such as Paytm. So this is all we had on this video. Once again, this video has been brought to you in association with Hyundai Motor India, and we hope we have been successful in making everyone understand the importance of not just the front seat belts but even the rear seat belts. Not just this, I would like to add that it's you and I who have to not just start using rear seat belts but even educate our friends and family about it. So with this, I come to the end of this video. I hope you have already subscribed to our channel. If not, please do so immediately, and do give us a thumbs up if you like our work. For now, it's your host YATHARTH signing off. I'll meet you again on 91 Wheels.